Hey e-commerce marketing podcast listener, do you want to get discounts to top online marketing tools? We have worked hard to get discounts to tools such as OSI Affiliate, SellHack, Ninja Outreach, FreshBooks, and so much more. You can get these discounts by visiting getosi.com/discounts or by texting getosi to 33444. These tools will help you get more traffic, sales, and conversions for your online store. Get the discounts right now by visiting getosi.com/discounts or by texting getosi to 33444. Welcome to the e-commerce marketing podcast. Today's guest is Dan Schoenbaum, and he's the CEO of Cooladata. It's a business intelligence and behavioral analytics platform, and he's going to tell us more about the company, and we're going to be talking about behavioral analytics. Welcome to the podcast, Dan.
Thank you very much. It's a real pleasure to be here.
Before we jump into the analytics, just give us an intro about yourself, how you founded the company, how you ended up getting into behavioral analytics.
Sure, I'm happy to. So I'm the CEO of the company. I'm not a founder of the company, by the way, but I joined the team about 6 months ago. I joined actually out of sheer frustration. I was running a SaaS business before this, so we were serving tens of thousands of companies online, and we were using many different analytics products from Google to Kissmetrics, and we had a really good understanding of who was hitting our site, page loads, very, very basic information. But we couldn't really understand what people were doing, what was driving their behavior, what drove them to purchase. And I couldn't find any product out there that did that. And I was introduced to the founders of Cooladata, and it was just a perfect marriage. They were solving a problem that I had my entire career, and most online businesses, whether it be e-commerce or subscription software, have. And I thought they were solving the problem in such a unique way that I left my previous role and came here to lead this company. And I'm really glad that I did it. It's been very exciting.
Okay, so what is behavioral analysis, and how is that different from Google and just the regular analytics that people think of when it comes to e-commerce and analytics?
Sure, it's a great question. So almost everybody we talk to is on one end of the spectrum or the other. I'd say 90% of the businesses out there are still using basic kind of first generation products like Google Analytics. And Google Analytics is not a bad product. It's a very useful product, but it only goes so far. And it's very good at helping you understand the basics, what mobile device somebody might be using, what pages they're looking at, your traffic volumes. But what we do is we go far beyond that and help you to understand users' behavior. So where do they come from? What motivates their behavior? What drives somebody to buy, or what drives somebody to leave your site? And so what we do is we do very complex analysis, but we do this as a managed service. So you stream your data to us, and we have data scientists on our team that deliver insights to you to help you understand really what's driving the behavior of your customers. And if you can understand that, it's much easier to better serve them and to grow your business. And without that understanding, we find that companies are just guessing. They're doing a lot of A/B testing and trying things. But, we hear from the people who use our products that they must feel like they are the customer because they understand them so well. So in short, behavioral analytics provides the ability to go beyond just page loads and page clicks. It looks at all of your data. It could be from your campaigns, from what people are doing on your website, and helps you understand really what's driving your shoppers and people online to convert, to become loyal, and to return and become engaged with your business. And It's, there have been a couple of articles out about it. There was one in CIO magazine this week. There was one in Inc. magazine. And a lot of people are just starting to talk about this as the new wave or the next generation in analytics. And, I feel that if you can't understand your customers, it's impossible to do a great job of serving them. So that's really what behavioral analytics is all about.
Yeah. And it's also new to me because in the marketing world right now, not a lot of people are talking about it, but from how you've described it, it does sound like it is a game changer. Because right now, the way the marketing is handled, a lot of businesses are doing the growth hacking, the A/B testing, the guessing to try and figure out, okay, who's this customer? What made them buy? But with what you're saying with behavioral analytics, that's going to eliminate that whole process. And I'm wondering, how are these scientists gleaning in this information? What information are they looking at? Because if you start providing this service and all companies start using behavioral analytics, it changes their whole marketing. It's easier because they should be able to find the customers that they're looking for. So how are they gathering this information and getting that insight?
Sure, that's also a really good question. I think one of the most powerful things that we do is help you understand what I like to call your on-ramps, what brings people to your site. And I've spent a lot of my 23-year career in marketing, and there's sort of a joke in marketing that every marketeer, everybody in marketing knows that half of their budget is a waste. It's ineffective, but nobody knows which half. And people say that a little bit as a joke, but it's actually true. It's very common to talk to customers who are spending large amounts of money on retargeting, on banner ads, on Facebook and LinkedIn. And you might know which one generates the most traffic, but the analysis sort of stops there. And so one of the most powerful things that we do is we take all of your campaign data, and it could even be, offline information. So it could even be a file of people that you met at an event, but we suck all of that information in. And most people, by the way, hear the term data warehouse and they get scared because it sounds big and complicated. But we actually manage a data warehouse for each customer. So you never have to touch it or get your hands dirty with the complexity of it. We take all of your data and put that into it and help do an analysis. And one of the most powerful pieces of analysis that we do is we look at all of your marketing channels, and we don't just do a simple analysis of which ones are driving conversion, but we look at the entire customer journey and the entire life cycle. And we can tell you of your current customers, we can look back and tell you which campaign they came from, which site they came from, which piece of content they looked at. And so you can say I'm just making up a number, of my 100 customers today, which are the 10% that are the most valuable and which drove them into the site, what drove them to convert. And if you have that information, it's really the holy grail of sales and marketing, and almost nobody has that information. And that's the value of behavioral analytics. It's drawing a line backward to figure out, how did somebody find you? How did they encounter you, and how did they become a valuable customer? And that's not about page clicks or page loads. It's about diving deep and understanding the whole journey from entry point to conversion and what made that customer loyal and engaged. And if you can understand that, you can replicate it, and you can spend your precious marketing dollars that much more effectively. So I hope I answered your question, but I think that's one of the most powerful things we first provide, is just an understanding of which marketing channels are providing the most value and contributing the most revenue. And we even go as far as map out the user's path. We show which areas of the site they go through, when, where, and why they convert. And that's eye-opening for our customers. And, I love that first conversation when we show them the data and get their reaction. It's a fun conversation to have.
Yeah, it sounds definitely exciting. And how can businesses get started with behavioral analytics? What are some steps that the listeners listening to this right now who are excited and they're like, okay, I want to give this a chance. What do I need to do? What steps do they need to take?
Sure. And by the way, we're passionate about this, and we don't just exist to solely to do demos and sell software. We're pioneers in the space. By the way, Salesforce is one of our investors, Salesforce.com, and saw this and got really excited and also became an investor. So there is a lot of excitement, but as you mentioned, it's a new area and not a lot of people are educated, and we understand that. So my interest is not just in selling products, it's also educating people. So I think to answer your question, one of the areas where you can get started is just by looking at some of the ebooks that we provide. So we have one called A Marketer's Guide to Behavioral Analytics, which if you read it explains at even greater detail than I'm providing in this short conversation, how it can help you and how to get started. We also have one on cohort analysis and helps you understand how you can perform complex cohort analysis to understand your customers and what helps them to become loyal customers. So those ebooks are out there, and we produce new ones all the time. But if you go to our site, you should be able to find those. I think that's a great way to start. If those are interesting and any of your listeners want to know more, they can ask us as a company for a demo or even contact me directly. I'm happy to share my information, my email on this podcast. But one of the things we like to do is problem solve. So if somebody comes to us and says, our conversion is really low, it's at 1%. But our goal is to figure out how to get to 3%. We love challenges like that, and we love to walk through the technology and explain what steps you need to take to get there, or what steps you need to take to reduce your churn from your site or get people to come back and re-engage. So when we hear challenges like that, it makes our demo, I think, more real, more interesting, and it's about solving a problem, not talking about cool technology, and that's what it should be all about.
Okay, and listeners, you can get those ebooks by going to cooladata.com. That's COOLADATA.com, COOLADATA.com. Okay, so what if I don't know what the pricing is with this type of analytics platform, but what if the business, they can't afford to start using you? Are there some things they can do with the tools they currently have to start getting this cohort analysis?
Sure. So there are free products out there that are very basic. Google Analytics is an example of it. Our customers, when we talk to them, tend to outgrow or become a little frustrated with it for a variety of reasons. One, it only gives you a sampling of your data. It doesn't look at all of the data. And if it does look at cohort analysis, it's only looking at a small portion of the data, and it's not factoring in all of your information. It's I think of it as kind of covering one eye with your hand, and you'll see, but you won't see everything. So if you're limited on budget, I think, no disrespect to Google Analytics, there's a reason why so many people use it. It does provide quick value without a lot of complexity. It is a great way to get started. But when you're ready to go beyond that and look at all of your data, and one of the things we do is provide the ability for you to ask any question, and we provide the information. So if you want to go beyond that, that's where a solution like ours comes in, is, if you just want to ask an open-ended question of your data and get the answer, behavioral analytics is probably a great step for you. But if you're not quite ready from a sophistication or a budget standpoint, I think Google is a great way to get started. If you're using a platform like HubSpot, it also provides really good metrics and analytics as well.
What are some other top tools you would recommend for e-commerce businesses to be using for their marketing?
Sure, great question. So I really feel that building long-term relationships are critical. So if you're not using some sort of system to manage and nurture your leads, you should be. I'm a big fan of HubSpot. I've used, Marketo and Eloqua and other products. I like HubSpot because it's a completely managed service. It's a great way to get started, really easy to set up. and there are huge partner networks out there that help you get started. I also think that, you need to be a data-driven business, and if you're not, you're kind of flying blind. And there are products out there that I think are really good at doing that without a lot of complexity. So we're fans of a product called DataBox, and it's a newer company, but I love DataBox, and I'm happy to promote them. I have no affiliation with them whatsoever, but I just think it's an amazing product. DataBox points at any environment that you have, whether it be your commerce application, HubSpot, takes all that information in and builds a data wall or a dashboard to tell you in real time what's happening. So I'm a big fan of a product like DataBox, and you could just go to databox.com and try it. But I have that open all day on my desktop, along with obviously Cooladata. So we drill down and look deeper at behavioral, but I start at the high level with a product like DataBox, and I think it's great.
Okay, and thanks for being on the podcast. Before I let you go, if people wanted to reach you, what's the best way they can reach you?
Sure. I love talking to people, and I'm totally open to it. Best way to reach me is dan@cooladata.com. So it's DAN, like my first name, at COOLADATA.com.
Okay. Again, Dan, thanks for coming on the podcast and talking about behavioral analytics.
It was my pleasure, and I hope this is useful for you and your listeners.
Thank you for listening to the eCommerce Marketing Podcast. Join the eCommerce Marketing Podcast Facebook group to learn, connect, collaborate, and grow with other e-commerce marketers at getosi.com/FB. Subscribe to us on iTunes by searching for eCommerce Marketing Podcast, and please leave a rating and a review. Thank you for listening. See you next time.